Alessia Rubinov, you've been charged with 3 counts of stealing candy from a baby. Your partner already confessed. What are you going to do? You want to confess to the crime?
Oh no. What do I do? If he already confessed and I don't confess, he gets off free and I get a huge sentence. But if I confessed and he also confessed, then we both get huge sentences. But what if Thomas the Train is lying? What if he didn't confess and I confess, then I get off free and he gets a huge sentence? But what if neither of us confess? Then we both get off free. This is a real prisoner's dilemma. What you just saw is an example of a prisoner's dilemma, which occurs between 2 oligopolistic firms in an oligopoly. As you can see with Burger King and McDonald's, McDonald's has a dominant strategy of charging a low price. A dominant strategy is the best option for you regardless of what your competitor does. As you can see, because regardless of whether Burger King charges a high price or a low price, McDonald's will always be better off charging a low price. Burger King, on the other hand, also has a low price as a dominant strategy, because whatever McDonald's does, Burger King will charge a low price. As you can see, these firms have no incentive to move out of this quadrant. This is the Nash Equilibrium, named after the late, glorious economist, John Nash. However, let's say these firms want to get a leg up on the competition. They could collude and form a cartel, which is illegal and includes 2 oligopolistic firms competing to get a higher share of profits. In this case, they would have gone to this quadrant and earned 150 each, which is more than which they earned in the Nash Equilibrium. However, this is illegal and should not be done.
Yeah, new high score.
Hey dude, do you want some rubles?
What are rubles?
They're the currency of the Russian Federation.
Well, what is the interest rate in Russia right now?
Well, why do you care?
Oh, Alessio, let me teach you something about the foreign exchange market. The foreign exchange market, or Forex, is the market where foreign currencies are exchanged. When the interest rate is higher in one country than another, there is an incentive to invest in the currency of that country. The interest rate in the US is only 0.25%, which is much lower than 12.5%. So yes, I think I would like some of Alessio's rubles. Oh sweet Alessio, let me show you this on the Forex graph. You see, Alessio, when a currency depreciates, it causes an increase in exports from the country and a decrease in imports. But when the currency appreciates, like the ruble does on this graph, it causes an increase in imports and a decrease in exports.
Привет, друг! Я такой счастлив, потому что теперь рубль такой сильный. Рубль такой сильный, и я теперь могу покупать всю эту новую технологию американскую. Я хочу себе купить iPhone и новый компьютер, и я все хочу. Давай я тебе дам.
Are these rubles? Take it, take it.
Hell, why are you throwing that at me?
Why are you in that trash can?
I'm unemployed.
Why are you unemployed?
I used to work for GM, and then they fired me because they got all these like new fancy robots, and now I'm here.
Sounds like he's structurally unemployed. There are 3 types of unemployment: structural, frictional, and cyclical. Structural unemployment occurs when skills become obsolete as a result of new technology. Frictional unemployment occurs when people are in between jobs or just got out of college looking for a new job. Cyclical unemployment occurs as a result of the business cycle because of recessions. At full employment, there is not 0% unemployment, but there is frictional and structural because those types of unemployment are unavoidable. However, at full employment, which is the natural rate of unemployment. There is no cyclical unemployment. GDP stands for Gross Domestic Product. This is the dollar value of all final goods and services produced domestically in a given time period. An increase in any of the components of GDP would shift aggregate demand to the right, but I'll get to that later. The components of GDP are consumer spending, investment spending, government spending, and net exports, or exports minus imports. Now let me show you that increase. This is what happens if, say, consumer spending increases.
Oh, hey guys. Our school, Walter Johnson, is a prime example of government spending. Government spending is important because it's a major component of GDP. On the aggregate demand, aggregate supply model, an increase in government spending will shift aggregate demand to the right, which can close in a recessionary gap. And a decrease in government spending can shift aggregate demand to the left, closing an inflationary gap. It's an important part of fiscal policy.
Net exports is a very important component of GDP. It's defined as the value of exports minus imports. When the currency of a country appreciates or becomes more valuable in terms of other currencies, that country will import more as their currency is worth more foreign goods. This will decrease net exports as the value of imports rises while the value of exports falls. Conversely, if the currency of a country depreciates, it will export more as the goods of that country are now more affordable for foreign consumers. This will increase net exports and will shift the AD curve to the right, increasing the price level and the GDP. If the currency of a country appreciates, the demand curve will shift to the left, decreasing the price level and the GDP. In this way, net exports are a very important and fundamental aspect of GDP.
Consumer spending is an important part of GDP. Consumer spending is when consumers purchase domestically produced goods and services. It's important to note that these are produced domestically because foreign goods and services do not count towards American GDP.
I have a terrible headache. Hey, do you have any Advil?
Sure, that'd be $10.
$10? Why? That's crazy.
That's $10 each.
$10 each? Man, I really need that Advil. I guess I have an inelastic demand for it, because no matter what price he charges, I'm going to have to pay it. Alright, here's $10 each.
That's gonna be 20 each.
20? Fine, give me the Advil.
Wow, these spearmints are 10 cents more expensive than all other types of gum. I guess I'll just buy orange, it's all the same.
Ugh, the price of steak has gone up so much. I guess I won't be buying as much ketchup anymore. The price of ketchup has gone up so much. I'll just get this mustard instead.
In the first example with me and the Advil, my demand was very inelastic as shown by this curve. Here, the demand curve is almost a vertical line because the quantity doesn't change very much as the price can be very high or very low. For elastic, which was the second example, the demand curve is very horizontal because the quantity demanded changes a lot as the price only changes a little.
Cross-price elasticity of demand is the percent change in the quantity of good X over the percent change in price of good Y. In the example with the mustard and the ketchup, they were substitutes, which means that they had a positive cross-price elasticity of demand. In the example with the ketchup and the steak, they had a negative cross-price elasticity of demand, which means they were complements.